Welcome to the Raise Up Mindset podcast with your hosts, Charlie and Athena Grimm.
Thank you for joining us at the Raise Up Mindset podcast. We're so happy to have you with us, and today's going to be fun because we're talking about a topic that everybody should listen to. So joining me today is Robyn Goldenberg. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
And so, Robyn, can you tell us a little bit about you and what we're going to talk about today around health?
Sure. So I'm the president of Strategy Leaders. I'm also a nutritionist and a strength athlete and a mom. I work with business owners who are in that messy middle where everything sits on them, but that what they really need to do is ramp things up and scale and grow, and they've got to figure out how to get the business and the stress that comes with owning a business, because we all know sometimes it really does suck, off their backs. And so today we're going to talk about wellness as a leader, as a business owner, and why it's important to put yourself first, and some warning signs, and kind of how to move forward from there.
Yeah. And if you've been following me or Charlie at all, you have heard me preach about survival mode. This is another layer of that survival mode that is subtle, that we don't always really connect to. Oh, actually, I'm doing a pretty good job with my scheduling. I'm doing a pretty good job in my leading, but our bodies are one of the hidden survival modes that we're going to talk about today.
Yeah.
And I would say some things that we were talking about before we hit record was this whole, Joseph, you're going to have to cut this. Gosh, I just lost my train of thought. So the idea that...
And that too.
Yes, and that too. The idea that we don't even know we're in survival mode with our bodies. We're wearing our achievements like a badge of honor.
Yep.
And so can you tell us a time in your life, like when you were wearing your achievement as a badge of honor and that you weren't tuned into your body, and how you kind of discovered this information?
Yeah, absolutely. So when I had my son, who's 4 now, I basically immediately went back to work, because that's what we do as business owners in a small business, is you just kind of jump back in. But I started to notice that I was just exhausted all the time. I kind of thought, okay, well, you're a new mom, like that's just kind of par for the course. But then I realized that my body hurt. I have Lyme disease, so all my joints hurt all the time. I was short with my whole team. I didn't want anyone to give me feedback. I just wanted them to kind of like, head down, do your job, don't talk to me, which is totally not how I work with my staff. Someone on my team who I trusted very much actually came to me and said, hey, it seems like maybe we're not doing a good job, and like, is there something we could do better? And that was kind of that, I had this immediate gut punch, like, no, they're doing a really good job. And then I said, oh no, like I'm the one being kind of a jerk. And I started to really look at what I was doing in my life. Like, was I taking any time for myself? Prior to having a baby, I was a competitive strength athlete, so I was in the gym all the time. I wasn't going to the gym, I wasn't eating enough, I wasn't sleeping. And just sort of, everything compounded and compiled into what I just felt like I was just kind of like a hot mess. And I had my husband at the time. I said, hey, this isn't working. Okay, I'm not doing my job. Okay, I'm not being a leader in the best way I can be. And I'm not being a good mom or partner.
Yeah.
And so I just need to like leave the house. Like I need to go, at that point it was like go for a walk by myself, right? Like I just need time to be physical and alone. And that's sort of how then I was able to, I took that baby step, and then I was able to be like, oh, I can actually go to the gym. The baby won't die while I'm gone. Just like continued. And now I've had another child, and I was very clear, like these are my boundaries. I go to the gym. I do these things. I have to drink this much water. I have to get in my protein, right? But it took time for me to be like, that's just how it is. Like those are the rules. Those are my boundaries. Yes. And we're going to stick to them.
I love what you said about the rules, because I often share that one of my things is that I need to stay in agreement with myself. And when I'm in agreement with myself, that's the best place for me. And an example of that is a long, long time ago, I decided that Athena does not watch movies with disqualifying titles. When it has something horror or gory, or it's alluding to the fact that I might see somebody's limb cut off, like I'm just not there. Because I don't want that coming into my mind. I don't want that coming through my eyes. And so it's like that is basically you're setting an agreement with yourself. And when you set agreements with yourself, you are building trust with yourself. And the agreements that you set with yourself are about setting yourself up for the greatest success. And what I also love is that you notice that you didn't receive feedback.
Yeah.
That's like the number one thing for me, that if I can just receive information from others, then they're bringing it to me to like help me.
Yeah, and they trust you.
And even if it seems like it's crappy information at the time, like I still want it, because if somebody is like being a jerk to you and they're just being mean, you'll feel that coming from them.
Yeah.
And then you'll also feel hey, I need to talk to you about something, and maybe you can do something with it.
I will also say, like, just in business in general as a leader, if your team isn't coming to you with feedback that they feel, it might not be personally about you, maybe like the system doesn't work, whatever it is, if they don't feel comfortable enough to do that, that's an indicator in your leadership style, or maybe your inner, what's the word I'm looking for, mindset, where maybe you feel like you're not good enough, your insecurities.
Yeah.
That might be a warning, like, hey, they don't feel like they can come to me. And I'm very lucky that my team is they will tell me anything. They don't care about my feelings. I mean, they probably care about my feelings, but they
know you can take it.
They know I can take it. They know that, we're all here to just be better and move forward.
And, I think that's just the best spot to be in. One of the things that we often talk about in my organizations is we're here to create a safe space. This isn't a safe zone so that people can be protected from reality. It's a safe space to where we do give feedback for each other. We are ultimately working to get into the deep feedback so we can really do some work, not just on ourselves, but help each other. So, the airplane model came to my mind about this, because there's another message that's out there around people think that they're being selfish if they're taking care of themselves. Like, oh, you're only thinking of yourself. And it's like, actually, that's the road you have to get on.
Yeah. Yeah, so what I would say to that, especially for small business owners, I think it's really hard to get out of your business, because at some point when you start your business, you are the business, right? And everything sits on your shoulders, and you just have to grind and do the work, and it's exhausting. But you just kind of learn to be that's just the way it is. But as you grow and you have teams in place and structure and systems, you have to start to make that shift. And the only way to do that is to say, I am going to set my boundaries. I am not going to put this business completely on me, because I can shift it to my team and we can share the load. And so the airplane model, where you put your not gas mask, your oxygen mask on first, and then you help your kids or the people around you, is very much the same in terms of taking care of yourself as a leader or as a business owner. And if you are not okay, it trickles down. Nobody else will be okay.
And you just demonstrated that in the whole statement around, I didn't take feedback, my team is feeling like they can't do anything right.
Yeah.
And that just centered around you.
Yes.
And that was an awesome example about that. So for me, that I kind of connect that to moving out of the mom and pop mentality. And I think that is the hero's journey for every entrepreneur.
Yes.
If they are in the place where they want to scale, you absolutely have to be thinking about this model of putting the oxygen on first, because you're the driver. And you might do all the jobs well in your mind, but the truth is there are other people who can do them better than us, because that's their craft, is that one little corner, whereas we have 50 things that we're into. So it's maybe not that they're better than you at something, it's more like they just own that piece and they become obsessed in that corner, and so they just know things that you're never going to know because
you're technicians.
Yes.
What I will say is I have business owners that come to me and they say, we talk about business owners being the bottleneck in their own businesses, right? And business owners will come to me and they say, well, how do I know that I'm the bottleneck in my own business? And I said, have you ever said, never mind, I'll just do it because it'll be faster if I do it myself? And they're like, oh, I say that all the time. Ooh. And I'm like, that's probably your indicator that you are the bottleneck, because I know, because that's almost always my default, is I could just do this faster. But it takes kind of a brain rewiring to be like, I could do it faster.
Yes.
But then everyone's going to expect me to keep doing it, and then I won't be able to do things that actually generate revenue for my business, or increase partnerships, or whatever that might be. The higher level brain power strategy work, where we really should be spending our time.
Yes.
Versus I have a marketing company, so optimizing your Facebook ads, that's not my thing. I could do it, but I have someone that does that. She's very good at it, right? Yeah. So why would I jump in and do that?
And so then the other piece of this is not just about rewiring using Robyn's little tagline, but then it's stabilizing your nervous system as you start to make the shift. And you are not able to do that if you're not taking care of your body. And that there is a stabilization, because there's kind of a wave that you ride when you're shifting.
Yes.
Because when you know that you can do it and you're like, no, but I've decided that I'm not going to do that, and I'm just going to let them do it. And if they end up not doing it where you need them to do it, then there's a little bit of this that will come up, and you'll feel it in your body. But you've decided that you're going to let them do it. Yeah. And the truth is that sometimes they do it 10 times better than you ever expected, and sometimes it's a total shit show.
And you just kind of have to go with
it. Yes. And that brings me to part of regulating my own nervous system and helping the others and other leaders in my organization is we don't talk about failures. We talk about unintended outcomes, and that lands softer when you can say, oops, that was unintended. Let's not do that again. How do we not do that again?
Yep.
And it creates some more of a learning environment. And so it's kind of like these little signals to your brain. Unintended outcome is way better than the sky is falling.
Yeah.
You can feel it in your body. And so as you start to tune into your body more, then you're going to notice, well, how can I keep my body regulated? And Robyn, that talk, the nutrition piece is 100%, the sleep piece.
Yeah.
So tell us more about that.
Sleep is critical. I think a lot of times when we're coming up in our businesses, we wear this being tired all the time or not sleeping. You'll hear this, I think, in tech startups and things like that, where they're like, oh, I haven't slept in 27 hours. That's not cool, first of all. But without sleep, your whole body shuts down. Literally, you just start to shut down, piece by piece by piece. You'll notice, you might be fidgetier than normal, or I get shaky when I haven't slept enough. Everything starts to compound. You can't make decisions as fast, or you make decisions way too fast because you don't have the brain power to slow down and think or take other people's thoughts into consideration. And you end up leaving money on the table as a business owner because your brain isn't operating at full capacity. So I get that, not everyone can get 8, 9, 10 hours of sleep. What I tell my clients is just get a consistent amount of sleep. So set your boundaries, right? I go to bed at 10 and I get up at 6 or whatever it might be. Obviously, if you have kids or something, things change, life happens. But if you can say, I need 6 hours of sleep to be me and to be present, then that is your non-negotiable, and you have to do it every day. That's how you build a habit. That's how you get your body on cue to just say, nope, now it's sleep time. Now we rest. And what I like to do is dim the lights at night and make sure that we have some low input. And then I build a routine for the morning so that I know, when I go to bed, obviously I have children, Sometimes routines, they don't happen.
They're
But
helpful though.
They're helpful though, at least for your brain to be like, when I wake up, the coffee will be going. Then I can have a coffee. For me, I put like protein powder in my coffee. So I have like macros to hit. I know that's a buzzword. I have macros to hit like first thing in the morning. So it's like a certain amount of protein, a certain amount of fat, because your brain needs fat to function. Before I even look at my emails or open a laptop or anything like that, and my kids just like quietly watch TV. And we just kind of have, as much as possible, a chill morning.
Yeah, you're just like coasting into everybody waking up in the way that they need to.
Yep.
Yeah, and you know, for me, it's less about what's the time that I'm going to sleep. I know I'm a 6 hour, like 6 hours is the perfect number for me.
Yep.
And so I'm looking at the clock, I'm thinking about my schedule the next day, I'm planning on that 6 hours of sleep. And I'm one of those people that as soon as I hit the pillow, 2 minutes later I'm out.
That's great.
Yes, that's been a gift for my whole life. I've been grateful. But then for me, it's not about hitting those numbers of macros or how much fat I'm intaking. Like I lean into a fast in the morning, and I probably don't break my fast until around 11. And sometimes it's a little bit later, and I'm literally just doing mineral water. I always mineralize my water no matter what. And even though I live in Alaska where there's beautiful water and I'm on well water, it's still mineralized, and those work for me. But it's the idea of knowing what normal feels like and knowing that cognitive range that you want to be at.
I will also say that, so I have ADHD, and so if you walked into my kitchen today, right above my coffee machine are Post-it notes. And one of them says like 30 grams of protein, whatever the macro is for fat, 16 ounces of water before coffee, right? Like I've got my checklist of things, because otherwise I will not do any of it, because people with ADHD are really bad at forming habits. We just build routines instead. And having these visual cues helps me. And so what I talk to my clients about is like, if you need a visual cue, I have a client that, is working with me on nutrition, and he doesn't really eat vegetables. And I said, I'm not going to rework your whole how you eat, because that's a lot. That's a big change. But send me a picture of what you're eating. I want to see every meal. So he literally texts me pictures. And I'll say, you did a great job. I would just add green beans or something, like add a fruit, add a thing, right? And so now he's got the Post-its on in his kitchen, and it says like, add a fruit or whatever that might be. But it's creating these cues so that you can get into this habit. And I've written Post-its and taken them down and put new ones up. But it helps to kind of have it ever present. And then your brain will just start to do it naturally.
Yes, and I would say something else to consider too when you're making a shift of intentionality is I tend to lean back into the nervous system piece, because oftentimes we don't even notice it, but our body is in this panic mode of danger, danger, don't change anything, because we need to stay how we are, because that feels the best and the safest for us.
Yeah, you need the control.
And so it's literally this idea of reminding yourself, hey, this is not warfare, you are not going to die, this is just change, and we're moving through change. And so these reminders help you remember this is just a change. And for some of us, start the change early. Brush your teeth with the opposite hand. Like, start to get your mind used to making these small little shifts and feeling how it feels and being okay with it. Mm-hmm. And drive a different direction home one day. And you will start to notice the difference of actually, and I can layer in this, but it takes some intentionality. And as business owners, sometimes we don't always feel like, hey, we can change anything right now.
Yeah.
And if that's you, maybe it's not the season for you to step into delegation. Maybe you're not ready yet. Like, this isn't everybody has to do this. Sometimes we need to stay in spots for a while until we actually decide that we definitely don't prefer this area.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And I would say, starting with one thing, this is why Anybody who knows me knows that I have a strong opinion against New Year's resolutions because they almost always fail. And the reason that they fail is because the excitement is wonderful. I love that you want to change things, right? You can do that at any point in the year. It doesn't have to be the beginning, but I understand like it's a new year and you feel refreshed. But people pile on so many things to change, right? They're like, I'm going to go to the gym. I'm going to eat right.
I'm going to quit drinking soda.
Read a book a month or whatever, right? Yeah, quit soda. Like all these things, your nervous system cannot handle that. Yes. And so what I would say is do one thing. Maybe it's like, I'm going to go to the gym twice a week, right? Which doesn't, well, for me, like I'm in the gym all the time, but for some people, they might be like, well, that's not enough. That's enough to get started. Yeah. That's enough to get you somewhere.
Create momentum.
Or like, instead of eliminating soda completely, right, like I'm gonna drink more water, right? Like I'm gonna drink this whole thing of water in one day, because what you might find is like, oh, I'm actually fine. I don't need more to drink.
Yes.
Or I'm gonna save my soda for like lunchtime, right? Like things like that, where it's just micro adjustments, because then your body, your brain, everything won't treat it as panic.
Yes, yes. And especially if you've been heavily relying on like caffeine and then you just decide to cut out soda, it's like, it's overload.
Yeah.
And then when the stress comes, guess what? You're drinking twice the amount of soda that you would have otherwise been drinking if you had just not told your brain you were gonna stop completely. And all of this may sound like, oh my gosh, like this is way too mental, and this is how it is. Like you start to get out of working in the business a little bit, and you start to become aware of these things.
I think the hard part with business, like being a business owner, is when the business is your identity. You don't know who you are outside of that business. And so when you can take things off your shoulders and your team is stepping in, we start to feel like,
oh, I'm not, identity crisis.
Yeah, who am I? I'm not even working. Like, I don't belong here, right? There's this panic, essentially, that happens. And what I see is that business owners often step back into their business, micromanage, annoy the shit out of everyone. And there's negative repercussions to their business, also to them, and their team, because they're like, oh, I thought you trusted us and now you don't trust us. And so what I would say is like, even if you're in the weeds, right, you are growing a business, you're in the messy, right, you can't really fully step out, which is totally normal, is to find something that you like to do outside of your business, and just know that it's okay to block off time to go do that, even if it's like, I go to the gym 4 times a week. It's blocked out in my calendar. That's like my sacred time. I'm certainly not like going to the Olympics for lifting, like, but I just like to go. I have a community there, and I've developed friendships there, and that really helps me to kind of like step out of the business space, and it makes me better at my job of being a business owner and working with clients, because it's given me time away from my desk or time away from solving really, sometimes complex problems and things like that. So what I would say is like, just find something. And it doesn't have to be the thing forever. It could be like, I really like to do coloring. Cool, like go do that. Do that thing that's creative or whatever you need to do, but just find it.
Yes, and oftentimes you can look back to when you were much younger, even as a child, and be thinking about what did I love as a child? Because often we will revert back to that time in our life when we just had no barriers, nothing was holding us back. We just were free to do whatever, and the things that we picked up in our childhood are often the things that we really do love. And that the other layer that you mentioned was getting into a community. And there's this thing about accountability, not from a negative standpoint. They're not saying, oh, Robyn, we're shaming you because you didn't come to the gym. It's more like, hey, we're here. Let's have some fun. This is going to be great. Yeah. We're going to encourage each other. We've all got this same energy of momentum in this direction and these goals that we have. And it's just fun to be around those people. So if you can figure out, hey, what was something that when I did it, I felt that little fire in me, and then it's in a space where there's other people who want to do that same thing. It's like a recipe for like the perfect storm of just shifting yourself.
I think I want to jump into quickly, because I know we're getting closer to time, but we're at chauffeur driven, right?
Yes.
With limo operators.
Yes.
And so what I hear a lot from this industry is, well, I'm in the car all day, right? Or I don't have time to go to the gym because I have to go pick up Mr. Smith at 5 a.m. or whatever that might be. And I get that not every operator is a driver, but a lot of them are currently. And there are ways that you can get in your movement for the day, your good eating, because I know it's really easy to be in the car all day, truckers too, right? And just eat whatever's on the road. But we can be intentional with, okay, well, at the gas station when I'm getting gas or whatever, I'm gonna like walk around the pumps, or at the airport, like I'm just gonna take a quick, you're always 15 minutes early anyway, right? Like you can go get a little bit of movement in, and then you could pack your snacks the night before, right?
Yes.
And then you have a protein, a carb, a fat, whatever that might be, and then you've got your balance throughout the day. And as a business owner in this industry, you're on the go all the time, and that's really draining on your body, on your brain, on your team back in the office. And the more you can do for yourself in between in those little moments, the better it'll be for everyone.
Yeah, and I think about think of it like a stacking situation. So if you know that stuff rolls downhill when you get to the office, and you're going to be hit with probably, let's say, five things that you've got to solve right when you walk through the door, because the line is starting to form right outside your office. Think about, how can I stack 5 things or 6 or 7 positive things onto your morning before you even enter the building. So it's almost like the 5 things that you stacked are going to transmute the 4 things that you're going to have to deal with as soon as you come in there that could be a little draining. And at the end of the day, if I'm honest, like I had to just decide that I was getting up earlier.
Yeah.
And that was kind of a reckoning for me personally, because I considered myself a night person. I would stay up until 1 o'clock in the morning, and it was just like, look, lady, you've got to not be awake, or be awake when the other humans are asleep. That's the key, especially being a mom, because I had 3 kids.
Yep.
So if it's the kids, it's the people, I'm in Alaska time zone. Eastern time is 4 hours ahead of me. Robyn is 3 hours ahead of me. She's already had a jump on her day. Like they're already halfway through their day by the time I wake up, if I wake up at 7:30 or 8. So just think about that. How can I stack? Some people, it's music. Music has a really big impact. It helps you shift your state of mind really quickly, especially if you've got a playlist of stuff that you're just like, I just need to get in a better headspace.
Yep.
Go listen to that for 5 minutes. But that's just one of the things that I think about.
I use music as my son is the same way, so I think it's funny when he's just like, I just need to listen to music. And I'm like, where did that come from? Oh, nope, that came from me. But yeah, I would agree that, preloading your morning with good vibes, is what I usually say, does help. And I think the shift that you and Charlie have really made and works really well for you guys is that your team is really good at solving their own problems, or at least coming to you with like, hey, we had this thing come up, but here's what we're gonna do about it.
Right, or here's what we did about it.
Yeah, or did about it. And getting your team trained to answer their own problems, even if it's wrong or it's not the way you would do it, it's okay, is a lifesaver, because then you don't come into the office with 17 people jumping on you like, hey, this happened, this happened, this happened, this happened. You can walk in and be like, everyone is peaceful, I'm going to my office, and then we'll deal with whatever has happened. And your team feels empowered to solve problems instead of jumping on you as soon as you come in.
Well, we call those the latest amusement in my corner, because we like laughter and we make fun of like the situation, and I feel like that brings us more energy than just going, whoosha. It's more of like a little amusement park. So we look for amusement, and it's like, oh, hey. But a big part of finding that amusement or finding things amusing is that we practice nervous system regulation. Not everyone who's maybe beyond senior leadership knows what's happening, but that's what it is we have to continue to learn how to regulate the things that could otherwise go, oh my gosh, what the heck? Because if your goal one day is to be raising up others around you, to empowering people to step into their own sovereignty so that they actually are having the experience that they want, so you can have the experience that you want. You want to retire someday, or you want to move into a new vertical, but keep your business or keep the corner of leadership that you're in, then you have to keep practicing that and allowing that to come through. And to your point, there are things that you can find at the gas station if you need to that are healthy.
Correct.
They sell hard-boiled eggs.
Yep.
They sell grass-fed meat sticks.
Fruits, vegetables.
Yes,
At least we have Quick Trip. Fruits, vegetables.
There's bananas and apples that are usually there, and for me, I really I like to lean into the organics, and so be intentional around like where you know you're going to be. You can just type in the search organic, like restaurants or lunches or locally sourced or whatever. Just we don't realize how much the microdosing of all of these chemicals and these different things that we're eating in our body. It could be just something as simple as you're going to be intentional about the lotion that you lather on your whole body in the morning. Maybe that brand that you love, I use Yuka. It's an app that you download, YUKA, and just scan it and look and see what are the chemicals in there. If you just stopped microdosing the lotion that you put on your whole body that goes into your bloodstream, that could be one step. I have these like organic smoothie pouches that are shipped to me every month in like a big box that I just throw in my car. And it's 8 ounces of just organic vegetables and fruits. That's it.
Yeah.
And it'll sit on the shelf. But in a pinch, where there's a will, there's a way.
I think it's easy to jump into like, well, I'm really hungry. Once you are really hungry, your brain doesn't function. So you get to this point where you're like, I'll just eat anything.
Yes.
Right? Instead of, I'm going to make good choices. So the earlier you can understand your cues of hunger, the better it will be for you to make smarter decisions. And I'm not so much like, I do have a farm and I have eggs and we do the things, but I'm not so much on the organics like you are. But we can still make reasonable choices even at a gas station. So something that I'll get is like, I like the Fairlife ready-to-drink protein shakes because I know I will drink them without an issue. Or my gas station usually has like raspberries, blackberries, blueberries, like in a little package, or some yogurt or something like that. And so it's going in with intention to say like, I'm not gonna eat shit. I'm gonna eat something that actually helps my brain and helps my body. And I'm not saying I don't eat chips. I love chips, but if I'm really hungry, I try not to make that my go-to because I'm still gonna be hungry after I eat that.
And even then, there's like the really, really crappy chips, and then there's the next levels. Like there's levels to it.
Yeah.
I didn't even know as an adult that I wasn't supposed to feel tired after I ate a meal until like well into my life. And I'm like, oh my gosh, because as a kid, I mean, we didn't have a lot. And so it was like bargain grocery shopping, basically. And that's a lot of processed food for a mom who's trying to stretch her budget. And so I just didn't know. And then as I started layering in some of these intentionalities, I realized, like, actually, I feel energized now. Like, I don't need to go take a nap after lunch. I would think to myself in the past, ooh, I need to, like, not have lunch because I have to really be thinking about this meeting. And so it's been a completely different shift. And I'm so grateful for my body and how far it takes me every single day. And I just didn't realize even the positivity around noticing the things that I appreciate about how my legs and arms carry me to places every day. Instead of going, oh my gosh, that thing on my cheek, I every time I see it, I'm just like, oh, I just don't really like that. I'm like, I'm thanking myself. I'm like, oh, I have thanking my arms. I'm washing my arms in the shower and I'm like, thank you. And I'm not thanking them because they're not a part of me. I'm sending myself a signal.
Yeah. I think it's even like changing your wording, right? Like, oh, I have to go to the gym, or oh, I have to eat healthy. No, I get to go to the gym.
Yeah.
I have this amazing body that's carried children, that has, like, allows me to lift weight, to do my job, to walk around this conference, right?
Yes.
And to be thankful for what you have, and, you know, change that wording. Oh, I have to eat healthy. No, I get to fuel my body with really great food. And that's awesome, right? Or, oh, I have to go to this conference, I'm gonna be so tired. No, I get to go and talk to people and see, you know, we almost never see each other in person, right? And, you know, I don't get to see all these people all the time. I get to see them. I get to learn new things. I get to, yes, is it tiring? Absolutely. But, you know, changing that, phrasing that mentality from, oh, I have to do this, to I'm alive and I woke up today and I can see and I can hear and I can, you know, be present in my life and my kids are happy and I get to be here.
And really it boils down to, what do you want? Do you want to be in a place where you're in this fun experience, or do you want to just be getting by? Do you want to be in survival mode? Do you want to just be the one that just is taking care of everybody all the time? Or do you want to actually have fun and find amusement and feel the vitality within yourself? It's up to you. And I mean, for us, that's just what we've decided, is we're on that journey of how can we know ourselves even better so that we can show up for everyone else in these ways that we never we never imagined. So well, any last thoughts, Robyn? Like, what would you like somebody who's just thinking about, oh, I'm pretty sure I'm in survival mode, like I heard the do one thing, but what would you say to that person if they're just on the fence, on the ledge? Yeah,
what I would say is that it is normal to feel the way you're feeling. It's normal to feel stressed in your business. It's normal to be like, oh, this really sucks right now. Like, I'm in this phase in my life. But being able to identify that you're in this phase and that you can, as a full-blown adult, make a decision to make a change, that's empowering. That should be empowering, even if it feels daunting. And it really does come down to, like, making one change. Even if it's like, I'm gonna drink water, which is shocking to me, that the amount of people that don't drink water. But, you know, even if it's just, I'm gonna drink water today, right? That's an intentional change that you've made. That's awesome, and I love that for you. And so we can keep making those intentional changes. And there are people out there, like myself, like Athena, who are here to be your accountability partners. There's people probably in your life that would be willing and wanting to help support you. And you don't have to do this alone. I think as business owners, we spend a lot of time in a silo. No one can understand us. No one wants to hear our problems. And ultimately, at the end of the day, we have to remove ourselves from the silo because we've put ourselves in them. But you can do it. We can all do it. We can all make intentional changes. I know it's hard. Change is hard, but it's worth it in the end, I promise.
Yes, and I would say that you can do it. You just have to decide, and that's it. The rest will come. When you make decisions, momentum shows up for you, and people that you didn't expect show up for you. But it's making the decision and being kind to yourself when the humanity piece of you shows up, and you're like, oh, I didn't do it today. It's okay. Remember, it's okay. Thank yourself for, I did it for 30 days before that, or I did it for 2 days before that. Get back on the wagon and keep going. That's it. None of us wake up one morning and decide that we're changing these aspects and that it shows up perfectly. So don't plan on being perfect, because nobody is. Yeah, and you'll just stall yourself. Being stuck in perfection. The idea here is stack positivity, not talk shit about yourself to yourself. Yes, absolutely. So anyway, well, if you liked this, Robyn, can you please tell others where they can find you?
Yeah, you can find me obviously at my website, strategyleaders.com. Everything will be in the show notes. And then I'm on Instagram. I'm an Instagram and LinkedIn person. So please feel free to connect with me on Instagram or LinkedIn, and I'll make sure that my links are in the body of the description.
And you can find me on YouTube. You can also go to raiseupmindset.com. We would love to hear from you, answer any questions that you have, and we'll see you next time. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.